comes to my campus, or TCS or a Wipro or an HCL or an ITC Infotech or a Mindtree comes to my campus and takes students in truckloads. So I'm sure I'll get a job at the end of the year, is what is the mindset in which the student lives. And over a period of time, what happens is he or she starts taking things for granted. You and I, from an industry and academia perspective, can end up talking about a lot of things. But if the student, who's the beneficiary or who has to go through the rigor in those 4 years, does not take it seriously, what is that you and I can do?
Actually, Rohit, I believe that point has probably been said many times already. And
correct. So then,
completely understood, and I think that there is a gap.
Answer him. See, Rohit, it's a catch-22 situation. It's not that we are not selfish. You and me go to campus in 2 stages. One is your set NCG numbers.
Correct.
And then other time when we're not able to recruit laterally. Let's accept the fact.
True.
When our business say, okay, you're not able to bring me a 4-year experienced guy with the budget I have,
get me.
go and get me a fresher.
At
least do that much well. So that's a bigger catch-22 situation. If Infosys, Mindtree or VMware hiring in truckloads due to selfish reasons, you have a billing with them.
So other side of
you have a billing with them. So
correct.
That's an ugly real fact out there.
The other side of it,
that need a contribution from corporate also.
Correct. I mean, the other side of it, that student taking it for granted is also because of the fact that all of us are sitting in this room and talking about the quality of students deteriorating. But we will go to the campus tomorrow morning and fight with, so Informatica will end up competing with VMware or a Huawei or an Alcatel-Lucent saying that, hey, VMware is paying 15 lakhs, can I pay 16 lakhs to get the same guy?
I think,
so how are we trying to curtail that? From an industry standpoint, we are going ahead and encouraging the student in what he or she is currently doing. He's anyways taking things for granted. We are encouraging him further, saying that, hey boss, don't worry, if VMware doesn't come to your campus, I'll give you double the salary and come and take you. Right, so we are going ahead and encouraging them. So that's something that needs to be fixed from an industry perspective.
I have 2 points to add here.
There's a lot of angst about the students on this table is what I can understand.
I have just a couple of points to add in here. When we look at the number of students passing out every year is significant. Why is there such a supply-demand gap that exists today where, VMware goes with 15 lakhs, somebody else goes with 16 lakhs? Why? Because only a percentage of them are actually employable.
Point before.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So the first point is
to increase that.
How do we actually increase that? And that is probably the most basic way of looking at it. Increase the size of pool.
That's where you have a responsibility on your shoulder to make.
So let me complete my second point. The second point, as Kanchana mentioned, I really like the concept of assessments. The reason being, even to get into an engineering school today, there are probably 50 different entrance tests going on, be it at a state, national level, city level, town level, village level. Everybody has entrance tests. I know a lot has been done of late to probably collate these into a few. But there's no standard, entrance test which is national, other than the IITG, frankly, if you ask me, for all engineering schools across. Nor is there an assessment examination like they have in many countries. If you're an engineer, if you're a doctor, you need to complete a particular assessment to actually to receive a degree or receive a registration. At the end of it, so that industry knows if these people are probably 1 to 1 million, how do they rank themselves against, against uniform examination at the end of their 4 years.
So, Shailesh, is the corporate world a little guilty of waiting for the perfect standardized assessment platform to come up? I mean, when Padmini was talking about saying that, those assessments don't work, maybe you could take a call and say, okay, I will only look at those students who maybe get 95% on that platform, even though that platform is not the platform across the country. It's one of the 4 platforms maybe.
No, I think if you...
But couldn't you kind of just raise the bar and then kind of that becomes an assurance of quality for you?
Then how different it is than being the CGPA? It is another
The CGPA is still, like somebody pointed out when you mentioned, it's still at a university level. It is at a very local level.
Right, I mean they can...
they can jack it up. They can jack all of it.
I understand.
But there is an assessment which is happening by...
Amit, I would like to add over here, it's not just about increasing the percentage cutoff, because almost every one of us over here insists that the students that we look at should have a 60% right from their 10th, 12th and their engineering. So all those students actually qualify. But when you meet them and when you start talking to them, you realize that they're so shallow in terms of their own, their knowledge that they should have. And we spend so much time in the off-campus event to take, say, 5 students who we would find suitable to us. We meet hundreds of them. Whereas,
So could you just use that only as an elimination mechanism, not as a selection mechanism?
Yeah, Amit, one thing that we need to
Just kind
probably
of just kill the, what is it, you know, the
the amount of effort that goes into that particular event is not a joke. You know, you spend the entire day, even in that elimination round, to get those 5 students to the table. So, you know, can we actually increase the bar or increase? I don't know. Is there one solution in terms of you know, having a uniform test platform across? But I
So Amit, I think we probably moved away from the topic. The question was the employability of students is deteriorating.
No,
right?
actually, honestly, to me, this is also core part of the topic. One is to say there is a gap in the quality of the students
Correct.
versus the expectation of the corporate. To me, that point, I mean, we understand, at least I get it, I'm sure they get it. But the second point I'm saying, how are you making the best of what you get today? And when you're competing with
See,
somebody else across the
the
table.
first thing that we need to probably fix is that, hey, how do I get what I want? So for that, I first need to know what is that I want. So all of us are here from the industry. So I'm sure all of us will agree that there are only a couple of standard parameters on which we evaluate a fresher when we go to a campus. And more than technology, we evaluate the guy on other soft skills like the aptitude, the attitude, the problem solving skills, the communication, etc., etc. These play an equal and an important role when we are trying to assess. Now, knowing that this is what industry expects and some basic understanding of the technology that he or she has studied over the last 3 years or 4 years, whatever the curriculum is. So if these are the assessment parameters, if these are the criteria on which I'm going to assess the student, what is the institute going to do to make this student worthy on these parameters?
No, but I think his point is creating that elimination, right? Before they graduate, I mean, that's the nirvana, but I mean, everyone appears for this.
Prashant,
just like
so I understand that. So my counter to that is.
Oh, he's
So, Prashant,
You are the business who
So Prashant, my counter to that way of doing things is that, hey, you are rejecting somebody and then saying that, hey, you just cannot fit into the industry. You are not helping him or her scale up. Right? What is that the industry or the academia is doing to scale up? Right? They are not doing anything. Then they are just saying that, hey, you are a useless guy. Just stay out of this.
Not exactly.
That's what we are saying by the way of assessment, right?
Let me tell you just. It's not that we have a very simplified this thing. I'll tell you the dimensions and the challenges. Just think of this: 1 million students. How many slots would you need if you have to train them twice on summer internship? 2 million slots. Is an industry giving you 2 million slots?
That's what I'm saying. So these are things that
Are
we need to
we
figure out.
having
As to
2
what
million
is that
slots
the-
available to us?
So, Mr.
Where do
Sharma,
I
that's-
send those students?
Okay, so Mr. Sharma, that's what I'm saying. That we need to figure out
I'm
what
just
is the
saying,
industry needs
in
to
terms
do.
of resources, we are saying. Let me give you one example. I know of so many other colleges. You said soft skills are not good. Okay, I have 120 faculty members. I have 36 faculty members. In addition to that, only for soft skills.
Mr. Sharma, I'm
Only
not
for
referring to Sharda University.
Yeah, I
That's
think-
the first
I think-
thing.
I think
That's the first thing.
People
So
are
let's-
making efforts.
Okay,
Not
so
that they are not
let's
making
keep
efforts.
Sharda University out of this
Similarly,
discussion.
others also are making efforts.
Sharma,
You
no, I
have
think
to
keep
you
Sharda
have to
University
handhold
out
for
of the
some time.
discussion.
See, your stake is also there.
See, I'll tell you, Mr. Sharma,
you
now
are
when
the
you say-
ultimate consumer.
I think
So when
Mr.
you
Sharma,
talk
he's got a
about-
point that he's not really talking about Sharda.
Sharda
He's
University.
talking
I'm not
about,
speaking
Yeah.
on behalf of
Second thing
Sharda.
is
I'm
now
giving you one
responding-
example.
So responding to that question of yours, today I at Informatica struggle to get interns for a period of 6 months, from January to July. I need 50 interns to come and work with me between January and July every year. And I am not able to get them because the colleges don't allow them. The engineering colleges do not allow them to go and work for 6 months during that period. Now, what is the solution to that? I am willing, you made a point saying that, hey, what is the exposure that the industry is willing to provide to students to do internships, right? So I need 50 people every year.
Sir,
The colleges do not allow that.
I'll answer that.
Actually, one point, I think both Shailesh and Murthy's point, I read a statistic that employability of those, that large number you said is very, very low in India.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But
Right?
having
So
said
what
that,
business is saying that I would rather get someone from outside fresher, even if it is going to cost me more. Which is a scary thought.
No, but
Right? And
do you think
especially the
do you
margins
think
are
do you think that
costing.
that these boys and girls are pretty useless? No.
No.
We have been
See, I am
handling
not
them.
saying
Let me
they are
tell
pretty
you. Let me
useless,
tell you.
Mr. Sharma. I didn't make a statement that they are pretty useless. My
What I'm
point is-
trying to say is the same very boys and girls after having worked for a year or two, there is 85% of your talent pool, if you see today, is coming from these Tier 2 and Tier 3 only.
I don't deny that. But
Students whom I used to think are absolutely useless, are worthless, will not be able to do anything, when they come back 3 years, 4 years down the line, I am myself surprised. This is the same boy doing so very well. So from that we have learned a lot of training is required because they are not self-driven.
Correct.
These good guys are self-driven, self-motivated, intrinsically motivated. These people have to be driven and made capable, but they reach that level.
correct.
They
So
reach
what
that
is that
level.
I am
I
willing
can
to
tell
do
you
to make them
70%,
capable?
70%
and what
of
is
these
that
boys.
you are willing to do to make them capable should be the focus of
70% of these boys and girls will
Correct.
meet your expectations, given the training. Given the training, they'll meet.
You know,
That I have
you
assessed.
to also assess the universities in terms of, what they do, so it will be helpful for us.
Yes, yes.
I won't waste time on other, that also is needed.
That will save your time. That will save your time.
You know,
Sorry,
That will save your time.
I didn't really get that.
just like what you're saying, students, you have to also grade different universities, institutions in terms of what they produce. Just like US colleges, right? That is very much needed.
So Prashant,
you won't waste time.
I'll tell you the point that just to add to your point, okay, what I have realized from my experiences of interacting with a lot of engineering college in our country is that the focus is to ensure that people get placed.
That's
By
a
hook,
big problem.
By hook or by crook.
Or by crook. That's right.
That's the focus.
That's the wrong
focus
approach.
of
That's
that's
the wrong
focus
approach.
of the colleges or the universities in India. Now there are people in the industry who encourage those kind of practices, and there are people in the industry who do not encourage those kind of practices. People who encourage those kind of practices, do not make the academia feel that, hey, there needs to be something done to improve the quality. And hence the focus of that particular college or the university continues on pushing the guys for a job or a placement.
And I'm sorry to say the academics has become a money-making machine.
Well, let me add here.
That's a business.
That's a, let me, okay.
I mean,
Let
it's
that
like-
be the perception.
like-
I will just
like-
ask, what's wrong with making money if I give you value for money?
Oh,
See,
yeah,
that's
absolutely
correct.
not.
That's
What's wrong with making money
There's
if I
nothing
give you
wrong.
value for money
It's
and
a
then
business, right?
Absolutely
It's a
not.
business. So it's like the way, so it's like Prashant, it's like I sell softwares at Informatica and I charge my customers money.
But
If I
that
am giving
software,
the software
you
is
charge
worth
me
it.
$1 million, that software saves me $10 million.
Dollars, it's
Then
worth
what's
it.
wrong with this?
Quality.
Quality is Prakash, we haven't heard
So
from you.
Quality has to be the focus.
No, just I'm telling you one thing. Let's change that perception. You used to have government schools, they're out of business. At the primary level, it's only the private schools which are existing.
No, wait a minute. Government schools out of business, that's a pretty, Pune
That's a pretty
University.
strong
it's a
No,
government.
yeah.
government, I'm not
No,
talking of
at the
colleges.
primary
I'm
level.
talking of
At the primary
schools at the primary level or the secondary level. The quality has deteriorated so much, nobody is going to the classes, no teacher is conducting the classes, nobody is
I think we should let Prakash speak.
actually
He's not- Prakash has been trying to
Can we
say
just get
something.
Prakash's views?
there are constraints.
Okay, Mr. Sharma, I'd request you to let Mr. Prakash speak for some time.
They have their own set of challenges. I am not denying they are not doing effort. There are very bright people there who are very committed, who are very sincere. But I am talking of the general, this one.
Okay, can I just...
point that I was trying to bring right earlier, that first of all, I'm not from a background, right? So I bring the business expertise here. Right, so what we are seeing that industry is moving very fast, right? But academic institution, so they have their curriculum that they define for every 10 years or 6 years, 7 years back, right? So that's the one gap that we are facing, because even if you see some of the numbers, that is mind-boggling number that you see, like the amount of data that we have gathered till now. The same data will be generated probably in year from now or 2 years from now.
That's very true.
Are we ready? Right. That's a question that we need to ask ourselves and all the colleges, that are they moving at the pace that industry is moving? Right. This is a big gap that what we see in most of the institutions. The question that earlier we were discussing, that why we assess people, even Huawei when we go there, we assess only on the common aptitude test.
Yeah.
Right? Because from our requirement point of view, there is nothing else we can assess on. That's the only thing we can assess on.
But you do have some amount of domain level tests and skills that you would test.
Well, I mean,
Not really at a campus.
I mean, yeah, it
perspective,
is
not
still
really.
at a...
I mean, it's
It's just
still
the basic
basics.
technical skills,
It's
the
still
basics.
Exactly. Even though we evaluate people in the telecommunications, right? But sometimes from the telecommunication engineers, right? The score they score in our test, right? If you see their score, right, you will start asking question why we have come here.
The word for it is pathetic.
Yeah. So that's the only parameter that we have today, that common aptitude test and soft skills and the attitude and the problem solving, right? That's the only thing they can assess on, right? Because industry is not what industry wants, that institutions are not able to factor. Right? There is a big gap in any institute. Right? So in IIT probably they are more closer to industry.
All I'll say is institutions are as willing as you are to move forward, but right now what is happening is their own resources, their own capability levels are not matching what you expect. So if you hire based on aptitude and some competencies for which you see a potential, and you train up, you make them usable or deployable, that is what is happening. But if you integrate backwards, supposing like exactly what he was saying also, same thing Rohit also said, you see, supposing in telecom, you hire based on aptitude or based on potential, 6 months or 10 months, a little earlier, and then conduct a course, not for those only who have been hired, or you conduct a course through Skype or through video conferencing, train up 100 students. Out of that, you pick up the best 10 because you are the person who have trained them. We'll share the cost. Those 90 also will get employed because that technology won't come to the campuses by its own self.
Mr. Sharma, one thing that
Right,
we need to
because the
understand-
faculty itself is lacking that exposure to industry. An excellent faculty is not available. That's a
So,
constraint.
one thing that we need to
So
understand.
how do we bridge this? That's where the shoe pinches at.
There's visiting faculty, there are a lot
Yeah.
of things you can do.
Is it,
We are doing. It's not that they are.
Point again is,
efforts.
are we focusing on technology? So if you look at a lot of trends, especially at these services companies, like say for example, I read about Infosys, that they've gotten into the mode of Infosys and Wipro typically, that they've gotten into the mode of hiring graduates to do programming for them.
What wrong with that?
That's right. What is that the graduate brings in? The graduate doesn't bring in engineering skills. He brings in basic aptitude and problem solving skills.
Writing
So
a
that,
code,
that
you really don't need
that's what I
engineering
said. So
skills.
that's what I'm saying.
But-
That's what
but
I'm saying.
just
So the
coming-
industry basically is expecting guys to come with good problem solving skills, attitude and aptitude.
See, I think, Rohit, we are discussing this quite some time, and you brought that point that employability is 30%. It's no brainer. 10 years back, to get into engineering, if you're keeping engineering as a baseline, you need to top in your state. Each state had 300 seats.
Yeah.
Or 500. Karnataka and Maharashtra was the only
Very-
state
very
which
good.
had a little more. Entire India had a limited 300, 400 seats. So only 400 bright students will get into engineering.
Very good.
Or if their parents have a little more dollars in their pocket, they go to Karnataka or Maharashtra and do it in payment seat. Now, every state have 50,000 seats.
Yeah.
There's a no-brainer that the basic itself has been compromised. 50% in PCM you have, and you have either clear an exam or have the money in your pocket, you are an engineer.
You can become
So
an
every
engineer.
nephew, niece
So,
and young cousin of
Do
mine.
you
is
have an
engineer.
entrance exam?
Yes, we
But
have.
I have
What's the,
we
I mean,
have.
those kind of things the industry
Yes,
does.
yes, yes. We have. I mean, for so far as
Can we
completely
focus on
divergent view.
solutions? Okay, we want to know the problems. Can
No,
we
I
have
Solution is
I
there,
have a
ma'am.
view
Actually,
here.
you still cut down there. Not get everybody and anybody there. See,
Correct, that's-
and they're not stopping there. The beauty is, I know my own cousins who are engineers, who are not as bright, that they've done engineering hook or crook. They got into some new college, tier 4 or tier 6, if you may call them, because they don't even have an infrastructure. Engineering college without a civil lab is engineering college in India, 60-40 site engineering college. So he's done engineering. Now, to adding to a problem, he couldn't get a job. He's doing MBA.
So,
And tomorrow he will present himself on engineering plus MBA.
Amit, like Murthy said, the business model for an education institute actually is not around placements, it's around admissions. His ultimate objective is to get admissions because that's what brings the dollars.
But then how will they get
Placements
admissions?
It's
is a
ultimately a
proof.
psychology
They
of
can
a
probably get
country.
admissions for a year or
to make
two.
a great
Placement
engineer.
is something that he has to deliver back to the student so that the admissions.
so
will
let me
happen.
share a data point for all of you. I mean, this is years, 10 years. I've been watching CDAC. They have this premier 2-year course, and there is an entrance exam. Okay. Now, you want to teach, and get into that. There are classes, so that person, and forget IIT. So I'm saying that these type of institutes have really raised the bar so high that I can blindly take the guy from here and he's going to succeed because they have done their job. Curriculum and high bar for entrance exams, selection of student, because it doesn't work on you give me donation and I'll come. It's very high bar to get there. So I think academics have to set that bar
See, Prashant,
and make
that
sure
works
that
for-
quality is not compromised.
That works for CDAC because it's a government organization.
Exactly.
Right.
So
It
can-
would not
Exactly.
work for a
Thank
lot
you.
of. It would not
Yes,
work for a lot of other
you see, let me
colleges.
tell you, the same principle of competition will apply to private sector. Eventually, you will find the private sector will overtake the government sector maybe in a decade's time. real effort is being put in, but the thing is, you have to earn revenue, you have to meet the expenses, you are not getting any help, and you stay from the day one. Either it's an Ambani who can invest to set up an institute, if some other people are sitting, it has to gradually earn the funds, deploy them, use them, bring up the level, and it is coming up.
Mr. Sharma,
It's coming up. It's not that it's not coming
Yeah,
up.
if I may.
So-
I think it's time that most of these education institutes start thinking like corporate. And let me draw an analogy. I think a lot of people from the product companies are here. When we invest money in converting an idea into a sellable product, it's at least a 4.5 year journey. And there is some amount of money that we put in. And by the way, there is no guarantee that by the time the product is delivered, we will have people to buy it, or it will still be viable for the market. There is enough data that is gathered that helps us invest the money and hope that the product will be ready when the market is ready. I think for institutes, for colleges, I think that is what we will need to do. If you are waiting for who will take the first step, organizations, industry will not take that, because we have so many options to go and look for people. And unfortunately, we don't have such a long runway where I can hire a person and give him 12 months of a runway to improve. That is where I believe.
Permit me to intervene.
That is where I believe, that is where I believe colleges could work very, very closely with a few elite technologists from, or even solution designers from the industry to create a course curriculum that, at worst changes every year. Let there be change, because in about 6 to 7 years time, you will have hit at the right mix of what you need to provide. But then the start has to happen at the institute, because if you are not able to invest that amount of money, my needs are only now. I will go next year to another institute, and 40 people hiring, I can hire from anybody. And I will also tell you one thing, and this is for everybody's benefit. There is an entity called Freshers World, and I do not have a stake in it, and I'm not trying to sell it. Last year, my business leaders came to me and said, we need to hire about 130 people. And I told them, what do you want to hire? Define a criteria and I'll tell you which institutes we can go to. And this is because I have people who know the colleges. I don't, personally. And there was a struggle for about 6 weeks to identify what are the 3 or 4 things that we will assess. And with all due respect, I have something like 28 different product groups within my entity. And by the time we decided that, okay, we will go and hire at least 15, it was too late for us to enter campuses. So we said, forget it. We will engage with Freshers World, and trust me, I had no idea about them. They came in and they said, if you need people, we will get. And I said, how? Leave it. What is the criteria you want? Tell us. Your test, your cutoff, your place, your time, and your salary levels. I said, okay. And they launched it into a website called freshersworld.com. 96,000 hits. I can bet on it. With all of the money that I would have spent on all NITs, I wouldn't have been able to get so many hits. So they got me. And by the way, Prashant, we completed those assessments. We got people from NITs, all of the NITs. Of course, last year was a bad year, I think, for the campuses. We got people from all the NITs. We got people from the creme de la creme institutes. We offered them at what is like a 4.5 lakh rupees. Sorry, we are at the lower end. This year, we will be better. We offered them 4.5 lakhs. Out of the 69 people that we offered, 2 or 3 turned down our offers, and they joined in like within 2 weeks. My business leaders are so maha-thrilled that they have decided to forget any branding on the campuses.
So this is this is a similar story. There are a lot of business models are coming. I think there is a e-litmus dot something.
That's again
assessment and all that. So I don't know times you are going there and make that's okay. You are starting something.
But I would like to bat for our future competitors. We're not in that space, but for a minute I would actually want to bat for them.
Because
and say
of this
that
gap, all these business models.
That's what I think I've been trying to say.
Very interesting point.
I think it's very well established. What we are saying is a group here that the fault lies with the education institutes. I think that's what I hear.
No.
But I'm saying, how do you make the best out of what you have?
So I have one point here, and I think he briefly touched upon it, Mr. V.K. Sharma, that do we have a reward and recognition mechanism for our teachers and professors? Yeah. They are the ones who are actually creating those students today in the industry. They are the lowest paid in any kind of corporate world. I don't think their salaries, and these are people who churn out the best students in the country, who get 3 or 4 times their salaries. So is there a way that we can train our teachers? Is there a way we can actually train them to come out with, how do you bring out the best students? So I think we need to, it's a far more grassroots level that we need to address.
I will simply make that statement. All those institutes who are trying to come up are very, very conscious of the contribution of good faculty. They are very conscious. Whatever AICTE has prescribed, they are going much beyond that to reward. I can talk of my university. Out of 250 people, we have 130 PhDs, out of which 40 are from foreign universities. And we have all others pursuing PhD level this thing, and 90% of the faculty has traveled abroad. This is what we are doing, and we are paying salaries as high, which is 3 times more than what AICTE recommends or UGC recommends.